All right, we are looking at our goal here, our learning target here is to solve literal equations. Just a little background on what literal equations are. You can look at those examples there down below, but for these, it's different from solving multi-step equations. The previous unit, we just had one variable that we were solving for. Here, there are multiple variables, but we're just going to solve for one. So we're not going to get a single numerical value. We're just going to organize the equation so that I have a specific variable by itself. And that's what we're looking at for this, okay? And so you'll be told what to solve for. This is actually a good prereq skill. Sometimes when we're looking at circles, we have to solve for a radius instead of just a circumference, or when we want to graph a line, we want to make sure that it's in slope-intercept form, so y is by itself. So that's why we're doing this, is to help with some of that as well. So we're going to run through a few of these. Again, key of this will be, the whole thing will be there on Canvas, but here we go. Okay, so if I look at this first one, it wants me to solve for p, so I need to get the r and the t, and so this is I equals p times r times t. So there's all sorts of timesing here. So I want to move everything away from the p. So I have to do the opposite operation. If it's timesing, I'm going to divide, and I'm just going to divide it by RT. You can do this separately or just together. It's kind of easier just to do it together. Remember, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So that cancels that out, and I'm left with P is equal to I over RT. This is a finance formula, by the way. This is interest and principal and rate and time. But that would be how you would manipulate that so that you could see what the principal is. Okay. This second one, it wants me to solve for y. So I need to get this y by itself. That's right here. And so I need to move everything away. So we're going to move the furthest thing again. It's kind of the opposite of my order of operations. So I'm going to move the 2x to the other side. This is a positive 2x, okay, because there's a positive out here. So to move it, I have to subtract 2x. So to remember, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So that cancels out. I'm left with negative 3y. And then here I cannot combine the 8 and the negative 2x because they are not like terms. So I'm just going to write it as 8 minus 2x, or negative 2x plus 8, either way, however you want to put it. Okay, now I need to get rid of the negative 3. This is timesing to the y because there's nothing in between it. So I am going to do the opposite operation, which is divide by negative 3. And I have to divide everything by negative 3. So I have to divide the 8 and the negative 2x by that. So this will give me y equals, and then you can write this in two different forms. You could leave it how it is right here, or if you want to, you can go negative 8 over 3. That's the same thing as 8 over negative 3. And then this becomes a plus, because negative divided by a negative becomes a plus, 2/3 x. And so you could write it, again, either way, whatever way is easier for you to understand that way. Okay? So that's how we're going to solve a lot of those there, okay? Let me show you a couple of these that have fractions. So let's skip down here to number 5 here. This one wants me to solve for b. So I have 1/2 b h equals a. This is the area formula for a triangle. So 1/2 the base of that triangle times the height of the triangle. So I'm going to get rid of the 1/2 first. This is, remember, we're going to times by its reciprocal, which is 2 over 1. So, and what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So this is just going to be times by 2 over 1, or just 2. That cancels that out, and so I'm left with BH. 2 over 1 times A is just 2A. And then I need to get rid of the H. This is timesing. So I have to do the opposite. I'm going to divide. And so I get B is equal to 2A over H. And I am finished with that one at that point in time. So this is a lot like the previous thing. We're just solving for specific variables and leaving it as an expression in that way. So, okay, let's look at number 9 here as well. Okay, so this one I'm dealing with fractions. So remember, this y is divided to both things, so I can do this right off the start. Okay, that's different than number 5, where the 1/2 was just to the 1. Okay, so if this is dividing by y, I'm going to times by y, but I have to times, again, what I do to one side, I have to do the other side. So I get x, y, or yx. You can put it as either way. A lot of times you just do it alphabetically. It's just a good math habit. But you could do, again, yx if you wanted to. And then don't forget this negative out here. That's going to be negative 2a minus 3. Again, we're solving for a here. Okay, so I'm trying to get the a by itself. I've got to do the opposite operation. There's no other a, so I don't have to combine it with anything. So I'm going to add 3, and then add 3 to this side. Those cannot combine because they're not like terms, so this will just be xy plus 3. I just leave it just like that. And then that equals 2a. I always rewrite my equation. And then here I'm going to divide by negative 2 because it's timesing by negative 2. That'll get rid of that. Remember, it has to be the whole thing that you divide it by. Okay? And then you can leave it just like that if you'd like. Like, honestly, this one might be easier just to leave it like that. And so we would have, that would be our answer that we've got there. So, again, we are just looking for ways to try and move those things around. Let's look at one where you have parentheses. So let's look at this number 8 here. If I look at this number 8, again, I'm trying to get b, which is inside this parentheses. So I'm going to move everything on the outside of the parentheses first because I can't combine anything inside the parentheses. I can't combine the b and c. So I'm going to get rid of the 1/2. I'm going to times by 2 over 1. That will get rid of that. So again, what I do to one side, I have to do the other side. So this will give me 2a equals h, and then b plus c inside my parentheses. Okay, then I'm going to move the h. So divide by h, divide by h. That'll give me 2a over h. Can't simplify that at all. And then I can drop the parentheses now because there's nothing on the outside. And the last thing to do would be to move the c. So I'm going to minus the c, and I will have 2a over h minus c equals b. And we are all by itself at that point in time. So again, we're just going to move and manipulate is what we're looking at. Okay. Okay. Let's look at a couple of these. So take a look at number 16. Number 16 is a little bit tough because we have, well, this is not too bad, but we have 2 r's that are there. So there's a couple ways that you could approach this. Probably the easiest and most intuitive is to move this first r here. So we would minus the r because we're trying to get t by itself. So I'll take care of this term last. And so when I do that, I get s minus r, and then it's equal to negative t r. Okay? Now I need to get rid of the negative and the r. I can do that both at the same time because everything's timesing here. I can just divide by negative r. That'll take care of both those two things. But again, this whole thing has to be divided by negative r. So that would cancel out both those things, and I'd be left with t. And then if I look here again, you can leave it just like this. Or if you really want to, this would be negative s over r. Again, it does not matter. And then this would be plus 1. You could do it like that as well. And that would work as well because you're dividing the s by negative r and the negative r by negative r. So either one of these, this top one or this bottom one, are correct forms for that. So, okay, guys, so let's just take some practice. Keep practicing. We'll go that route, and that's it. All right, we'll see you later.